I'm here at the Attenborough Nature Reserve in Nottinghamshire at the crack of dawn to test the new MM4 77 ED spotting scope from Opticron. The latest in a series of scopes that really live up to the company's maxim of smaller, lighter, brighter, sharper. Now it's a great place to start to look at the weight and size of this, because for an 80mm class scope it's one of the lightest weight available on the market at just 1250 grams. It's not that heavy at all. The size is just 320mm long. It's some 70mm shorter than its cousin, the ES80, which will make it much easier to carry around. And carrying this from one side of the reserve to the other, I really must say it wasn't that much of a backbreaker. For most people, an 80mm class scope is really one that's going to be used for fixed point bird watching. But with the size and weight of the MM4 77, it will be much easier to carry around and give you a little more freedom when you're out and about. As with other models in the range, it's compatible with all the existing eyepieces from Opticron, the HR, the HDF zoom and the SDL V2 zoom. For best results, of course, you probably want to go with the SDL, and which is what I've got here. On the MM4 77, it gives you 18 to 54 times magnification, which is perhaps a little less than you might expect to come with an 80mm class scope. But I'm happy to forego a little bit of magnification for the lighter weight and size of the MM4 77. It's Japanese made and as such comes with a 30-year guarantee. It's rubber armoured with this lovely textured rubber armour, which is quite thick and will give you a lot of protection on your scope. It's made from a composite of polycarbonate, magnesium and aluminium alloy as well. It's got retractable lens hood, so if you're bird watching in bright light conditions you can pull that out and just stop a bit of that glare going over the objective lens. And it's got this great wide focusing mechanism with a dual focusing wheel, which Opticron brought out originally, I believe, with the GS range of scopes. And it gives you the opportunity to very quickly get onto the subject you're looking at with the inner wheel, and then fine-tune the focus when you're onto it using the outer wheel. Now optically, I must say I'm really impressed with the MM4 77. I've been using it since first light this morning, and even at the very early parts of the day it really delivered on the light gathering. Of course, the 77mm objective on this scope really brings light into the instrument anyway. Edge-to-edge sharpness, absolutely brilliant. Between 18 and about 45 times, I really cannot fault this scope. Beyond 45 up to 54, you start to lose a little bit of the contrast and the clarity in the image, but the light is still really good. And of course, with the ED glass objectives, chromatic aberration is almost completely removed. You may be able to pick it up in brighter light conditions, but really in this overcast day today, up to about 45 times magnification, can barely pick up any chromatic aberration whatsoever. Even being very critical of this, looking at a swan with its bright white feathers on the dark contrasting light of the water, really there's very little colour fringing whatsoever. It's very sharp, very bright across the whole field of view, and again watching this great crested greaves nest some 100 metres out on the water, the other side of the pond, you can get into all the details and the lovely plumage of the head there of the grebe sat on the nest. Right up to 54 times magnification. You don't lose much of the detail at all. And of course that's going to be really good if you're out bird watching in, say, a coastal estuary and you want to get out to the far reaches of one of the sandbanks perhaps to pick out a wader and get an identification on it at range. Like I say, I'm really impressed with the MM4 77 ED from Opticron, and if you're in the market for a new scope and you're looking for something that's going to give you the best output at the extremes of the day, early morning, late in the evening, particularly through the winter months when it's very much overcast and poor light conditions, you want to consider this particular scope. Don't just take my word for it, get down to your local optics retailer and try out the MM4 77 ED for yourself.